A missile fragment falling to the ground and exploding in Doha, the capital of Qatar.
Whole build-up from the U.S., the Abraham Lincoln was not sent just to be called back, nor the Gerald Ford now, which is positioned very close to Israel.
So Iran is not holding back either. It is targeting United States bases.
Tonight, social media exploded with claims that Iran launched ballistic missiles toward U.S. military positions in the Gulf, with explosions reported in Bahrain and the UAE, and interceptions allegedly over Qatar. But here's the problem. At the moment these reports started spreading, official confirmation lagged behind viral headlines. And that matters because in geopolitics, the difference between a strike, a signal, and a misinterpretation can decide whether the world wakes up to a crisis or a war. So tonight, we're going to slow this down and separate three things: what's confirmed, what's claimed, and what it could mean if true. The first wave didn't come from governments. It came from online monitoring accounts, the kind that track aircraft movement, radar signatures, and regional chatter. Posts quickly claimed ballistic missiles fired toward U.S. naval facilities, explosions in Bahrain and Abu Dhabi, air defenses activated in Qatar, interceptions over Gulf airspace. Within minutes, the narrative hardened. Iran attacked U.S. bases. But this is exactly where geopolitical misinformation often begins. Speed outruns verification, because in real military reporting, three confirmations matter. Radar confirmation, government acknowledgement, independent observation. Early on, none of those were fully aligned, and that's why analysts immediately shifted the conversation from what happened to what kind of signal this could be.
To the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered, don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere.
To understand the stakes, you have to understand geography. The Gulf is one of the most militarized regions on Earth. Within a relatively small distance, you have U.S. naval headquarters in Bahrain, major air operations staging areas in Qatar, strategic energy infrastructure across the UAE, Iranian missile ranges covering all of it. That means something important. Almost any missile launch in the region isn't just local, it's interpreted globally, because strikes here don't just affect one country, they affect energy markets, shipping lanes, insurance costs, military readiness levels, and financial markets within minutes. So even the possibility of a strike can move oil prices and military posture, which is why governments move carefully before confirming anything publicly. Military analysts usually classify incidents like this into three categories. 1. Direct attack, an intentional attempt to damage or destroy targets. 2. Calibrated warning, a launch meant to demonstrate capability without escalation. 3. Atmospheric or detection confusion, radar signatures, interceptions, or detonations misinterpreted in real time. History shows the Middle East has experienced all three. There have been cases where missiles were launched but intentionally aimed away from populated areas, signaling capability rather than triggering war. There have also been cases where air defense systems fired interceptors at unidentified objects, creating explosions without an actual attack landing. So tonight's situation immediately triggered the key strategic question. If missiles were launched, were they meant to hit something or meant to be seen? Because deterrence sometimes works through visibility, not destruction. The timing of reports is what caught analysts' attention. Moments like this rarely happen in isolation. They happen during pressure cycles. When tensions rise between regional actors, especially involving Israel, Iran, and U.S. positioning, the risk of signaling behavior increases dramatically. Military doctrine often uses limited actions to test reactions, measure response time, send political messages, reestablish deterrence boundaries. And sometimes those actions are intentionally ambiguous. Not claiming responsibility immediately can actually be strategic, forcing opponents to react cautiously, which may explain why officials tend to use phrases like, "We are aware of reports," "We are assessing the situation," "We are monitoring developments." That language isn't accidental. It prevents automatic escalation while facts are still forming. 20 years ago, events like this unfolded slowly. Today, they unfold in real time. Iran attacked U.S. bases. It becomes psychologically real to millions of people, regardless of later clarification. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. Public reaction pressures governments. Government pressure changes military posture. Military posture raises real-world risk. In other words, information itself becomes part of escalation, which is why credible analysts treat early viral posts as signals. not conclusions. The next 24 hours matter more than the first 24 minutes. 3 indicators will determine the seriousness of this event: official confirmation of damage, military repositioning, diplomatic communication patterns. If bases report impact or casualties, escalation risk rises dramatically. If defense is intercepted without damage, it likely becomes a warning incident. If governments quietly communicate behind the scenes, the goal becomes containment. Most geopolitical crises are resolved in silence long before they reach headlines. So tonight, the story isn't just whether missiles were launched, it's whether the world is witnessing the start of escalation, or a controlled signal meant to avoid one. Because modern conflicts don't always begin with declarations. Sometimes they begin with ambiguity, and how leaders interpret ambiguity determines everything that follows. We'll keep tracking confirmed updates as they emerge. For now, caution matters more than speed.